Hello and welcome back to the TTP Field Manual podcast. You are listening to our every month-ish or so book club where we not so much review but discuss a book. Often it's a Warhammer book. Today, it is indeed a Warhammer book. Isn't that right, Johnny?
It sure is.
And what book do we have to chit-chat about today?
Oh, we're talking about the First Heretic. You guys should be expecting this already because you've already read the book as part of the book club.
That's right. I forgot that everyone else also reads the book club with us, Johnny. You're right.
That's why this isn't a review. It's just
A discussion.
our opinions and a discussion about what we thought and what we experienced.
Is an opinionated discussion not a review?
No, reviews aren't a discussion. They're normally one person preaching.
I see. The way I see it, the review is more so on like the craft of it, the technical side of it all. Discussions, did we enjoy it?
Man, I set you up so well for that and you didn't even take the bait.
Nah, sure didn't.
How disappointing.
I know. I know.
Speaking of someone who likes
I'm still
to
waking up. Preaching.
We'd be talking about the man who started the preaching himself.
Gilliman.
No, Fulcrum.
Gosh, there was a lot of preaching in this book, wasn't there?
I mean, it is called The First Heretic.
The First Heretic. This is, just to get the details out of the way, Johnny, you know. The First Heretic is Aaron Dembski-Bowden's first novel for the Horus Heresy. He's obviously done other novels outside of the Horus Heresy, including one such title that we both really enjoyed on the book club a couple of months back, Hell's Reach of the Black Templars fame.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. Aaron Dembski-Bowden has a couple of other novels in the Heresy, as well as then later in the Siege of Terror. But this was his first in the Heresy, which is always interesting when you think about the fact that the First Heretic is book 14 in the saga. But of course, it's a little bit of a standalone. This novel is performed on audio by Gareth Armstrong, who has done a lot of the other Heresy titles, but I don't think we've had him be our VA before.
I don't think we have either. And you know what? I enjoyed it. He did well.
I enjoyed him too. He really fits into the tapestry of Black Library VAs. It really feels like he belongs.
Yeah, he's got the right voice for it.
He's got the right... I was just going to say that he's got the right voice. There was sometimes I was listening to him, like, just driving around. I'm like, this isn't Jonathan Keeble, is it?
It sure isn't.
Johnny, you really enjoyed this one, didn't you?
Wait, did you not?
Oh, I did, but I'm leading with you enjoying it. You really enjoyed it, did you?
I sure did. How can you go wrong with a book where Gilliman gets slapped in the face real early?
Oh, that first few chapters, chef's kiss.
Yeah, what an opening.
I loved the opening. I loved how it wasn't all just from the Marines' perspective. They had that more human approach of basically the gods orbital bombarding your city into oblivion. Like that was a really good setup. In case it's not obvious, this episode will be very spoilery.
They always are.
I'm just putting out the disclaimer.
I mean, these books have been out long enough that spoiler warnings are only a slight necessity, right?
Hey, Johnny, The First Heretic came out in November 2010.
Damn.
2010.
That's 16 years ago.
I would have been 12.
I was an adult.
Oh, you old boy. Nah, you're not that old. Don't worry. Don't be like that.
I was an adult. What do you mean?
Were you? Okay. Moving on. Ay.
I'm getting too old for this job.
So you really liked this novel, hey? Were you a fan of the Word Bearers before you picked this one up? Did you know much about them?
Not a clue. This was my first real introduction to like Word Bearers lore. I knew a little bit, like I knew the base knowledge that they're like the original chaplain legion. They're the religious fanatics. Their primarch Lorgar is stuck in the warp, being harassed by a pigeon.
Corax is here.
which now makes, after reading this book, makes even less sense than it did before. But it's fine.
That he's being haunted by the demon bird Primarch?
That he's being haunted by the bird Primarch, when we will talk about it later, but there's a section in this book where they're like, oh, we've never really talked before. Let's fight.
Yeah, that was a little interesting bit.
There was no grudge match or anything like that, because I was always curious, like, oh, what's the connection between Corax and Lorgar? The answer is there isn't.
In the Heresy, Corax doesn't get a whole lot of, I guess you could just say, screen time, word count, perhaps, presence. His appearances are more delegated to audio dramas and novellas and shorts, unlike Lorgar, who gets the First Heretic. But Corax and his legion were always freedom fighters. He was a big guerrilla resistance fighter. And so having like that in mind, I was like, oh yeah, he sees the tyrant before him go. But it had nothing of the impact of like Fulgrim versus Iron Hand himself.
Ferrus Manus.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remembered which Primarch was which for a change. Normally it's the other way around.
Oh, I knew it was Ferrus. I just wanted to call him Mr. Iron Hand.
Mr. Iron Hand. You're going to catch these Iron Hands.
Doesn't Ferrus Manus literally translate to Iron Hand?
Something like that. I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, Ferrus means iron.
Yep.
Manus means hands in Latin.
Nice.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of Jesus, Lorgar.
Lorgar is 40k Jesus.
The Emperor's personal Jesus. Oh, man. So, obviously, in the Emperor's plan for the Primarchs, they each have, like, a role. Gilliman's taxes, right? And supply line administration, all the minutiae of stuff that you need for an empire.
The Emperor's heart.
Lorgar is the spiritual heart, the spiritual energy. And there's a lot of fan theories that the Emperor kind of like pushed the heresy to happen. And I don't think so, but I also can totally see how people would draw such a conclusion because he was really bad at handling exactly half of his sons.
Oh
wow, my spiritual guardian of the Imperium's son is doing spiritual compliances. How about I completely blow up one of his prize jewels and kill a bunch of people in the process? I know they're meant to be evacuated, but let's be real, they didn't all evacuate.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my god, how did my son turn against me? I couldn't see this coming. Dumbass Emperor.
But Dad, we love you. Don't worship me.
What's the general gist of the story though, Johnny?
The general gist is Lorgar was creating some of the most compliant planets that have ever existed through worship of the divine being known as the Emperor. The Emperor found out and is like, excuse me, religion not okay. So he brought the Ultramarines along to witness him chastising and basically giving a good old-fashioned smack to his son while making his brother watch, which frankly is absurd.
Yeah, the big kneel moment.
Yeah. And then obviously the Ultramarine Primarch decides to put in a quick quip and got absolutely bitch slapped across the face by a Crozius wielded by a Primarch, which has to sting. But this sent our friend Lorgar down a bit of a spiritual reconsideration. The overarching theme is not all divinity is worthy of being worshipped. And there was this kind of quest that Lorgar and his children went on to find something out there that is divine and worth worshipping, that deserves to be worshipped. And that is how they discovered the Chaos Gods and kind of went down that whole path of possession and, bringing chaos to the forefront of the galaxy. This is the guy that started it all because the Emperor mismanaged his spirituality.
One thing I really liked about the book was that normally when these books are broken up into arbitrary parts, they don't really feel that necessary to distinguish part 1, 2, 3, whatever. This one actually did. It was in 3 parts. Part 1 being Grey when the Monarchia thing occurred and they were censured.
It's the quest, right? Part 1 was the quest.
Yeah, and part 2 was like, hello, we're going to poke ahead into the warp now. And then part 3 was the modern day, which really surprised me that it was like 50-ish years overall, like 40 to 50 years between the start and end of this book. And I thought that was really nice. So many of these are just like maybe a week, maybe a week of events.
No, this one was definitely the long span. There was a little bit of a sudden shift in the way the book was written between parts 1 and 2, which caught me off guard a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Because they definitely went from that first-person perspective to a discussion and like flashback scenes for a bit there.
Oh, yeah.
Which really broke my attention span at that point in time, and I thought I missed something and had to go back. And I was like, oh, no, that's just the change in writing style for part 2.
Yeah.
But that does quickly resolve itself, and it's not really a problem.
I think it's one of those moments where listening versus reading will really catch you off guard if you're not paying particular attention, or you just, aren't too sure what's going on. Because I actually listened to the first couple of chapters of part 2 and then restarted part 2 because I was like, no, this doesn't seem right.
Yep.
I feel like I missed something.
I did the same thing. Yep.
But it was a moment that occurs and you're like, whoa. And then you're sort of throttling between the continuation of that initial moment, but also the events that led up to that moment. But as part 2 goes on, the past leading up to that moment part 2 starts with becomes more and more. Yeah, it was a bit interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of the split, at least at first, but...
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it was a bit jarring, but it wasn't terrible. Like, it wasn't book-breaking.
No. What do you think of Argel Tal?
I was about to bring up our man, our myth, our legend, Argel Tal. I enjoyed his character. There were a few moments where I was like, really? Really now? But for the most part, it was fun. It was fun to watch him kind of like battle with himself a little bit as, he obviously realizes pretty early on that he has become possessed. And there's a lot of him dealing with that information, kind of working up to...
Possessed by Rome.
Rome.
Rome. Oh yeah, I am a great chef.
But no, I enjoyed his character for what he is as, I was being trained to become a chaplain, but then decided not to, and kind of like fell out of favor a little bit. I do like anyone who has a grudge against Erebor and gets into a fight with him. Or Erebus, I should say.
Erebor? Have you been playing some Magic the Gathering Hobbit, Johnny?
After dealing with...
No comment, I see.
Yeah, exactly. Wrong topic. Stay on topic.
Yeah, Johnny.
After dealing with all of the shit that Erebus has done over the course of the Horus Heresy, seeing it from an internal perspective and realizing that, yeah, he's still a shit, even within the Legion, but they kind of have respect for him as, like, the first chaplain, is very interesting to see, but it didn't make me like Erebus any more than I do, which is not at all. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fucking Erebus. Oh, man. Argel Tal. Interesting in character, because before doing this pod and listening to this book, like, I knew of Argel Tal. I know a lot of the community loves Argel Tal being a lot of the POV of word bearers in the heresy. And I was under this impression that he was a bit more of a, like, the good guy in the Legion, same as Loken, same as Garrow, same as Tarvitz, like that, the one POV character that we have to see through the eyes of, that everyone else is a bit shit. But this guy's good.
Yeah.
That's not Argel Tal. Not really.
It sure ain't.
He's not that bad, but he's not good. He's kind of like a weak character in the sense of, like, his morality, but they have a very interesting part where they keep trying to determine whether or not the word bearers in particular have a genetic flaw that makes them more susceptible to following their primarch, which makes a lot of sense for, like, the spiritually oriented Legion, that you think one thing but you still do it. And that is Argel Tal. He keeps thinking, oh, this is not great. Oh, sire, we can't do this, sire. But then does it anyway. And you're like, really, Argel?
Was that necessary?
Yeah. There is a comment that is in the very earliest chapters of another heresy novel that's from Argel Tal's, like it's his own words, that I think really summarize his character and why I'm not a huge fan of his character. Like, I like him within the context of the story, but if you want, I can read you the quote.
Oh, go on.
So this is from the start of Betrayer, which is a sequel of sorts to this novel, also written by ADB. And Argel Tal says, I don't enjoy war, yet I fight. I don't relish torture, yet I inflict it. I don't revere the gods, yet I serve their holy purpose. Humanity's weakest souls will always cling to the words, I was just following orders. They cower behind those words, making a virtue of their own weakness, lionizing brutality over nobility. I know that when I die, I'll have lived my whole life shrouded by that same excuse.
Damn,
right? What a quote.
No, I really did like his character.
What'd you like about him?
I liked that he questioned things.
Yeah, it was good.
When the rest of the Legion was kind of like, oh, but Dad said it's okay, so we're going to do this. And I liked that he kind of stood up for what was happening and trying to determine whether it was the right path. Yeah, it's like he was kind of trying to be the good guy, but it felt like he would bend his morality very quickly if needed, which kind of leans into that maybe we're forced to be more compliant than we should be.
Yeah. I think he also got manipulated a fair bit. Obviously, he's a soldier, and you can't, it's going to sound weird, but you can't expect like too much of like a moral perspective from every super soldier devoid from humanity,
Yeah.
But he did seem to be sort of manipulated. Anytime he asked a question, Lorgar would spin poetry. Erebus would say, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. His chaplain friend Zathan, who he's constantly talking to, is just like Erebus Jr. And anytime Argel Tal's like, but I mean, like, what if we could do? And I imagine Zathan's just there in the corner, like the Italian, like, what the fuck with his hand, like, Argel Tal, come on.
What are you doing, boy?
Do a bad deed for me, brother.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of that. And I enjoyed the interactions between him and the Custodes as well.
That was a really good section.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Custodes in the novel?
I mean, they were the Emperor's Chosen, right? Like, it was good to see them in a more human expression. Like, they weren't just these godlike entities. There was that connection. But you could also see how they were isolated and, shunned by the rest of the Legion and stuff like that. It was good. I really enjoyed their inclusion in the book and the things that the Legion were doing to kind of like hide what they were doing while they had literal spies within their midst, Like, they were being watched at all times and trying to navigate the path they wanted to go down.
Yeah, I like the dynamic of Argel Tal being sort of the jailer of these Custodes, because they were commanded by the Emperor to spend 5 decades with the word bearers. Argel Tal basically kept them in his house, so to speak, and was forced to like keep them subdued. The word bearer chaplains had rituals that were blocking the warp communication from their astropath without them knowing, so none of their information was getting out or coming in. But he also became like good friends with them.
Yeah.
What did you think of Lorgar in the sort of middle of the book when he basically chooses Argel Tal and his company to escort him post-Monarchia for a few years all the way over to the Eye of Terror, which was not named at the time, and find what's beyond the veil? How did you enjoy this chunk?
Oh, you mean Cadia? When they were like purple eyes, I was like, hold on a second. I know people with purple eyes. I didn't know that the first Legion to encounter the Cadian planet was Lorgar and the Word Bearers. That was something I wasn't aware of before now. Or that they were chaos worshipping heretics to the core until Lorgar wiped them off the face of the earth to hide his tracks.
Man.
This was actually a really pleasant kind of surprise for me to see. I was thoroughly interested in all of it because it was a fun part of the book, and seeing them be like, oh, our language is so, like, our language from our home planet is here on Cadia because the planet was originally settled by people from his planet. I really enjoyed this section. It was disgusting and gross chaos stuff, but it was cool to see all of these like dots get joined into what I kind of already was aware of these places and things, but not in the context that they are. What about you?
Yeah, it was a really masterful sort of blending of all the various plot points. Like, how did Lorgar get to understand things? How did Argel Tal get possessed? You know, how did they know about chaos for so long, and how did no one figure it out? It was nice to really see this.
How did no one work out what was going on, right? That was cool.
Yeah, it was really nice to figure that out. Because this is like 40 years before like the modern Horus, Isfar, and all that betrayal. A 40-year window of time between Lorgar going beyond the veil, Argel Tal and the Word Bearers going beyond the veil, and basically finding hell and devilish gods, and then coming back and confirming what Lorgar's inner circle, Erebus and Corpheron, were basically whispering into his ear the whole time. Lorgar having this moment of, oh, we must enlighten the universe. And then using the Chaplain Brotherhood to go out to the other legions and sow the seeds of betrayal for 40 years. Like, that was all really insidious and well done. And Ingothel was deeply uncomfortable to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Very uncomfortable. There were a lot of scenes in there that were very uncomfortable.
Yeah, her ascendancy ritual, where she basically becomes big demon prince, but is a human basically being flensed to gibbets and then reborn as a demon prince. When I was listening to it, I was like, huh? What? That's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Things are getting gritty in here.
Sacrificial ritual, yeah. People on spears, yeah. Very chaos. Yep. Fighting a custodian, yep. Oh, the priest has been eviscerated in midair. Wow. And then is actually on board Argel Tal's vessel when he's like, don't worry, sire. We will go in first and return to you. And just the mere presence of this demon prince on board was making people like suicidal, sick, blood coming out of their skin. I was like, ay.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Ay. And then when Argel Tal's ship comes back from the warp and he's like, sire, we were gone for 7 months and we murdered the whole crew and some of our brothers and drank their blood. And you're like, Argel Tal, the guy we've been following for half a book now, who's actually kind of decent of a person, he's vampiric demon possessed now? Oh.
Yeah, it was wild, right? It was just like, why did we get to this point? How did we get to this point?
What do you think of Lorgar?
I like Lorgar. I actually do.
Yeah?
They definitely played him off as misunderstood, chastised child throwing a tantrum. And being like, oh, you don't want me to love you? Well, I'll go find someone who does want me to love you.
Yeah.
But you could definitely see his like charisma and personality a lot in this book. Like, he was very front focused, which is good. You know, he definitely played the role of like archbishop. It was very much like a follow me as we go on this adventure together. This is for the good of everyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the words for how I view Lorgar. What you said about him, basically, him throwing a tantrum really makes sense. But off the back of that, I'm like, my brother of the Emperor, your temper tantrum is going a little bit far, don't you think? And like he's there like, oh yes, my son. Like, he's visibly uncomfortable with the whole Argel Tal possession. Or he's like, oh, good job. Yes, this is exactly what we should be doing. It's like, are you sure? And anytime he has like a crisis of faith, haha, he has conveniently his useful pre-emperor father, the not quite Astartes Corpheron. Basically, if not him, then Erebus, his first chaplain, either of them being like, Sire, no, not even Sire, they're like, Lorgar, you sissy fuck, we've come too far, do your job, bitch.
Yeah, they definitely felt like they had their hands on the reins the whole time. I do not like Corpheron. I don't think they did his character well either. I was really... It felt really weird, the sudden shift in respect that people had for him.
Yeah, right.
Where at the start of the book, they describe how the whole Legion shuns him and all this, but they put up with him because of his relation to Lorgar, but nobody likes him. And then suddenly everyone's like, oh yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah, let's do what he says. Yeah. You know, like, they kind of just did a 180 on the perspective of other people and this character. And that felt really weird to me.
Yeah, I don't really like Corpheron. And I know you're not really meant to like Corpheron, but he just sort of like came and went as the story needed him to. And he's just, I know Argel Tal is separate from the rest of the Legion to the point where Argel Tal is even like, what have you been doing for the last decades, everyone else? But at this point, you know, the corruption, I suppose, of the word bearers has really blossomed. So we don't get to see what Corpheron and I suppose Erebus have. Oh, I mean, we know kind of what Erebus does because we see him in other novels like the opening trilogy. But like Corpheron, like, what is he doing? How is he doing? He's the like keeper of the faith. He's the guy basically guiding the moral heart of the Legion. How?
None of them like
What?
him. Why is he? And it's not even moral. It's like, I felt frustrated anytime he talked to Lorgar. Well, talked down to Lorgar. And I was like, how is the rest of the Legion okay with this? Especially the word bearers.
It's because he does it
who are meant to be like super...
like in closed doors.
Oh, not always. He calls him out in front of everyone half the time. Or in front of the inner circle at least.
Bloody Corpheron.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He's still alive, by the way, in modern 40k.
At least Erebus was honest about his treachery. This guy's just a douchebag.
Yeah, I don't really like Corpheron. They do insinuate that they've done internal purges of the Legion to get rid of the more loyalist elements.
Oh, in the same manner all of the traitor legions did a purge.
Yeah, but maybe it was just Corpheron basically handing out a naughty list. Like, I don't like these guys. They keep saying mean things about my shaved head.
About me not being the same as them.
Yeah, quasi-Astarte. Do you see any half Astarte wearing Terminator armor like me? Oh, man.
Crazy.
Oh, my God. His Terminator armor is called the Terminus Consularis. And his lightning claws are named the Patriarch's Claws. What a douche.
Yeah, there's nothing to like about this guy, but I guess that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah, but I felt bad for Lorgar.
They had to... Yeah,
I felt bad for Lorgar. I didn't really like him.
He felt like he wasn't in control at any point in this book.
He wanted so badly to matter.
Yeah, and that was it, right? That was his whole character arc, is I just wanted my dad to appreciate my love for him. But he had these two people whispering in his ears, being like, he doesn't deserve your love. We know someone who does. Come on, we'll show you someone who deserves your love. And he's like, oh, okay, all right.
Okay, then. You know what? I love worship.
You've never chastised me before.
I love worship, actually. Yeah, I don't know, like, I find the word bearers a little more, I guess, tragic than some of the other traitor legions because they're all just sort of like pseudo-manipulating one another into further acts of depravity and corruption.
Yeah.
Like Lorgar, like towards the end of the book, when it catches up to the modern-day Dropsite Massacre plotline, which, you know, we didn't really get a whole lot of word bearers before this, so that was nice. He basically looks out over the battlefield, sees the Jewel of the Fates music beginning as Fulgrim's fighting Ferrus Manus, and he's like, oh no, what have I done? My brothers. Flashback to the moments that he went to go talk to them, and they're like, fuck off, Lorgar. And then he's like, oh, my brothers, what have I done? And then charges headlong into a duel with Korax, who I found that hilarious that they get to the drop site, the Gal Vorbak, the first possessed Marines led by Argel Tal, they've been doing their thing for like 40 years. They get to the battlefield and Korax kills like half of them in like a sentence.
Yep.
And he's like, I will protect my sons. And what was it like then? Like Corferon's like, no, you stupid fool. Don't
go over there. He'll kill you.
But then he's like, I was not born to be a warrior. Goes and fights Korax.
Man, how many times have we heard that from one of the traitor primarchs? I didn't want to fight. I just wanted to do my thing. It's Perturabo all over again.
Yeah, but to be fair, Lorgar's really not good at fighting. Korax just moving out of the way of all of his mace swings without much effort. What do you think of that fight? Like the whole drop site aspect when we all catch up to the modern day.
I mean, we've seen this before. We know what's happening.
Yeah, but now we got the word bearers flavor in the stew.
Perspective, right? And it didn't feel as eventful as some of the other perspectives we've had. I was a little disappointed in the lack of motivation between the two combatants.
Yeah, I know you were. Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it in the nicest way possible. Is there just wasn't any motivation between them. They were fighting because they were the only two that were left.
Yeah.
Everyone else was having these like deep and meaningful grudge matches, and these two were like, I don't want to miss out.
Nah, not Vulcan. He got nuked.
Well, someone had to.
Did you know that's how he went out?
In a ball of fire? Yeah.
Yeah, he got absolutely nuked.
That's the whole reason he like died, right?
Yeah, he got literally nuked.
At that point. Yep.
I think it was Pederaro's like, that guy can't die. Try this. Nuclear missile.
I'm gonna try and kill him.
Do you know what happens to Vulcan after the Dropsite Massacre?
Doesn't he go MIA for a while, comes back, and then gets nuked again?
No. Kurz abducts him.
He gets abducted.
He gets abducted by Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords and gets basically tortured to death.
That's right.
A bajillion times. Like, he dies like many times.
Yeah, he gets put in the maze, right?
Yeah. And then eventually...
That's it.
And then eventually he breaks free and drops as a meteor into Ultramar from the ship. Poor Vulcan. Poor boy. Man, I was so negged when Korax gets deflected by Kurz. It's like, you didn't see that guy coming?
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, man. Did you what were you thinking when they had the pre-battle meeting of the second wave traders? The Primarchs and other captains just standing around the table having a chit-chat.
Oh, mate, they do this all the time. There's always this chit-chat. I love that Perturabo is always the leader because he was the one that was like kind of in charge of that assault.
He had one line, right?
But he had one line the whole book.
He had one line and it was the only line ever.
Yeah.
I audibly cackled in my car listening to that. Iron within. I was like, oh no, iron without.
Oh no.
Oh no. I was so tempted to be like, Johnny, have you read this part? Was it good?
He said the words.
Soy pointing guy meme. They had the best character though in the book.
Yeah.
Sevatar.
Which one? Sevatar.
Night Lord's first captain, Sevatar. Oi, oi.
The Night Lords are actually kind of funny in this book in like a weird way. Like they were just so blatantly Night Lords.
Yeah. Which is really fun when you realize that the same author of this book wrote the very popular Night Lords trilogy.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I was pretty keen.
Yeah.
There was, what was it? When Korax was about to kill Lorgar and Kurz showed up and blocks the strike and is like, you're a pitiful weakling, and then just like fucks off.
Yeah, I love that he, when you first sort of read that, you could interpret them as taunting Korax, but no, it was just bad-mouthing Lorgar. It's like, why did I have to save you?
Yeah. It's like, I shouldn't have had to save you here. You should do better. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
I had a little pip of excitement when Malkarian was name dropped
Yeah.
on board the thing, because he is the War Sage who's basically like, he wrote a little Codex Astartes himself, but for the Night Lords, and is one of the characters in at least the first book
Oh.
of the Night Lords trilogy as a dreadnought. But the book has those sort of, at the beginning of a chapter, there's an excerpt from something else.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things ascribed to Malkarian's writings, like, fear is your weapon, says Malkarian, the War Sage, rider of the tenebrous path, you know, that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Malkarian, he's here. This guy. Cameo. But yeah.
There were quite a few cameos mixed in, and I guess you get that when it's this style of book. It's the one thing about the Horus Heresy, there's a lot of crossover events.
Yeah. You know how lately they've been doing those character storylines for the Heresy with like Zardu Lyak and upcoming Raldoron and Valdor and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to do a Sevatar book, because it seems like each legion's getting one. I hope they get a Sevatar novel, because he's very cool. He was the guy that says death to the false emperor, Johnny.
Oh.
And
right.
this was the book where
He's that guy.
there was the first moment of someone uttering that phrase, and it was this guy, this unhinged piece of work.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some neat stuff.
I'm curious about Zardu Lyak, though. I'd be interested to read his novel at some point, because Zardu Lyak is the word-bearer leader that, let's just say, makes it to the Siege of Terror.
Ah. I mean, at some point we'll also have to do one of the Night Lords books, right? Because they're very well received.
The 40k ones, or the
omnibus.
the collect, like all three at once.
I mean, I could.
Yeah. I think,
Give me a month, I'll have it done.
I've only read the first one because I'm holding off for us to do that before I go in further. But the first one I really like. I really like ADB's writing style and his characterization. The Night Lords novel, at least the first one, again, has this really fantastic habit of starting chapters with the perspective of other characters, kind of like what we had with Ishak Hadin in this novel, but more like smaller than that of a moment. And it would just be like the cultist captain or the random astropath or the guardsman being hunted by the Night Lords. And you're like, wow, what manner of criminal unhinged monster is doing this? And you're like, oh, it's the protagonist. Very good. Very good. What did you think of this book in its writing style compared with, say, Hell's Reach?
I definitely preferred this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Hell's Reach was bad. I think Hell's Reach was a fantastic book. But I had a lot of fun with this book. If I had to rate it, it would be very up there. In terms of like a Black Library book, this is what I would call a 10 compared to what we've read previously.
Oh.
Like, I really enjoyed this book.
You're going the distance?
In the grand scheme of things, that's compared to the other 40k books I've read.
Yeah, of course.
I have obviously I have read books that I prefer more from the perspective of reading a book, but that doesn't mean that these books were bad in any way, shape, or form. They are fantastic books.
Of this genre, this is your favorite within this genre you've read.
Yeah.
Very good. It's not my favorite. I think within the Heresy, I'd still give it to maybe Fulgrim. I much preferred the wholesome, depraved descent rather than the isolated perspectives that are more in this book. However, I think this had a lot better like meta narrative and giving a lot more of the like setups and intricacies and the minutiae of the morality of the Legion. I think this book did it a little better than Fulgrim, but I think I was more entertained by Fulgrim. Was there anybody else or any other parts of the book you wanted to discuss, such as Cyrene, the Blessed Lady?
I was about to say, we should probably talk about the main non-Astartes character, right? Being Cyrene, what was her title? The
Blessed Lady.
Blessed Lady. the blind chick that witnessed the death of Monarchia, which I think that opening part with her was fantastic. Like,
oh, so
that
good.
was such a cool way to like introduce this like prophetess character. I thought it was very well done. I thoroughly enjoyed her position. I liked this kind of human lady that even the Astartes would come and talk to on the regular. Like, she was almost a counselor for these lost children. And I thought that was a really well-played position. And honestly, like, even her dying towards the end to the Custodes once they found out what was going on was very in the spirit of, like, this like, religious novel. Because that is kind of how this worked. It was very religion forward, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was very well done, and having that human character that they've gone out of their way to hunt down and kill. For the Custodes to get to the level where they're like, we need to go kill this one human woman is pretty outrageous. It's like such a big power creep. And the robot at the end defending her. I am a word bearer robot.
In Cardadine. One of those Iron Circle style automata.
Yeah. That somehow has a slight personality of, I got accepted as a word bearer, so I'm a word bearer.
His tech priest is like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, this robot guy.
I keep ripping his brain out, flushing it clean, and restarting it, and for some reason he's still a word bearer. I was waiting for them to be like, it's possessed, but it never came.
I was waiting for some sort of for the dark gods equivalent line.
But it never came.
Did you notice that there was a few like Easter eggs to Dawn of War, the strategy game? Like some of the chaos lines from the units in the game were in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun. I'd hear this, I'm like, hold on a second. That sounds familiar.
Like, I know that phrase.
Yeah, that was good. I liked that a lot.
It was a blast of a book to read, and I'm very glad of the recommendation.
The recommendation? It was just next in the saga. You're welcome, sir.
Oh, I've heard people say it's a good book before as well.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people say it's like their favorite. I can definitely see why.
And you know what? Pretty good.
It is pretty good.
No complaints here.
Do you want to remark at all about the one of the other POV characters, the Remembrancer guy with the camera, or nah? So forgetful.
Do nothing, McGee.
Do nothing, McGee. What an interesting inclusion.
His whole claim to fame is he discovered the heresy before. Like, he's the guy that told the Custodes. That was it. That was his whole position in the book, was he was how the Custodes found out.
Bloody Remembrances. When they announced a Remembrancer character, I thought, here we go. What terrible fate awaits him. Man, Black Library really, really put the artists out to burn with this saga.
Mm-hmm. But no, I don't really have much else to say. Like, the book is very good.
I have a question.
They did very well. Go on.
Is there anything you didn't really like? I know we remarked a little bit about the structure of the narrative in the middle, but besides that, was there anything you didn't really like? Or not so much dislike, but didn't gel with, perhaps?
Not that I haven't voiced already.
Okay.
Is the best way to put it. Like, obviously, there were some characters that I was like, ew, I don't like this guy.
Zaphen, Erebus, Corferon.
Nailed that one, didn't ya?
Magnus the Red.
Oh yeah, he showed up, didn't he?
He showed up to be like, Lorgar, don't do it. Oh, but I must. It's my destiny. Can you help me, Magnus? Magnus like, I just said no. But Magnus, please, to really show you how firmly I'm against this, I'm going to teleport out of here and blow out all your windows. How about that?
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's right. You just showed up, said no, and then left. Like, they were trying to be like, these are the two that are the closest brothers, with Lorgar involved. And he's just like, I've already been yelled at once. I can't get yelled at again. It's like my planet will end up like Monarchia. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Lorgar's such a brittle character, isn't he? In the sense,
oh man,
he starts. What's the word when you enunciate to the audience? You give the whole speech, elucidate. Anyway, you get me. Whenever he starts to basically spread the good word. He sounds so confident and spiritually grounded. Like he knows exactly what he wants to say, how he wants to say it. But as soon as someone's like, Lorgar, I don't care, or Lorgar, I think you should stop, something to that effect, he's like, nah, actually, how dare you? This is the truth, man. I'm going to preach it from the rooftops, actually, now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he sure does.
Oi, oi, oi. Follow-up questions, actually.
Okay.
I remember when we read Hell's Reach, you enjoyed it to the point where you've considered Black Templars playing on the tabletop. What about Word Bearers now?
I'm still an Iron Warriors boy.
Okay.
I definitely at one point was like, oh, I could like paint up a small combat patrol or something. But now I'm like, I looked at their color schemes and I was like, oh, let's go pre-Heresy. I was like, oh, it's Iron Warriors without the stripes.
You got to chisel in all those little sigils, man.
Yeah, that sounds worse than stripes.
I've seen your hands. I don't know if you can do it. It's
No.
too fine of a detail.
So I was like, you know what? That's not so interesting after all. I'm just going to go do what I want. Which apparently, according to the audience, is Imperial Guard.
Oh, yeah. You had a poll asking what should you do for armies on parade, and everyone said Astra Militarum.
Yep.
Hey, Johnny.
Had 60% of the vote.
Johnny, where was this poll? Where did it happen?
That was in our Discord.
What?
Yeah, go join the Discord. There's a poll. There's polls up. We're gonna try and do them a little bit more regularly. As you just mentioned, we just did a poll for what I was going to do for armies on parade. So I look forward to some updates in the painting thing as I eventually buy and start painting little dudes and big tanks.
What a combination.
And yeah, come say hi.
Come say hi. I love when people say hi.
What else you got for us, Joshy? Because I think that's about does it for a book club episode.
It does. The two things that I have left to chit-chat is, were you to continue reading from these characters, where do you go next? Because the Heresy is a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure. And then following, what is our actual next book club? So,
yeah,
from the Word Bearer side of things, there's actually like a direct sequel novella to this book that is also written by Aaron Dembski-Bowden. The novella is called Aurelian. Haha. I wonder what that means. Aurelian is basically Lorgar talking to his brothers about what he went through when he himself went into the warp.
Oh, interesting.
This book that we just had was mainly what Argel Tal went through. Comes back, he says, Lorgar, this is what happened, this is what I've seen. Lorgar goes, okay, my turn now. But we don't actually get that. We don't get what he sees, what he does. Like, we just don't really touch upon it. We just skim past it, and then he comes back with that real vigor, you know? And so there's that. If you are an Audible listener, they've recently in the last year done novella collections where you basically can pay a credit for 3 or so novellas, which still roughly totals in time the length of a singular novel. So that's not too bad. I think Aurelian is in novella volume collection 1. Could be wrong, but that exists. Otherwise, this is the first in a sort of trilogy within the Heresy. There's the sequel that is No Fear, which is an Ultramarines perspective, written by Dan Abnett, which is the Word Bearers attacking Calth and basically starting this whole sieging the Ultramar system.
Mm.
Following that, there's Aaron Dembski-Bowden's next novel in the Horus Heresy, which is Betrayer, which is a World Eaters focused novel with the Word Bearers as secondary characters as they team up to continue this Ultramar beat everybody up crusade. And so when we come back around to the Heresy, we are going to be going into No Fear, because that is sequentially next. But I am keen for Betrayer and what comes of all that.
Exciting stuff.
But that isn't our actual next one. the next book club, it's my turn to pick. I really wanted to get some goss on a faction we actually have not really been into much with our readings and listening so far. I really like Aaron Dembski-Bowden's novels. He is, to me, the most consistent in quality. And so I decided, you know what, Johnny? Fuck it. We're going to go over to Grey Knight's territory. We are going to do The Emperor's Gift, also by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, which follows a young Grey Knight around about the time of the First War for Armageddon, which is when Angron and the World Eaters decide to go beat up Armageddon. The Space Wolves are also in it, which we've not really covered before.
Nice.
And tell you what, I am loving it.
It's good to hear.
In not even a week, I am almost done.
Damn.
Which has never happened.
That's big for you.
That's so big. I think the voice actor is lending a lot of, as the kids would say, aura to the listening experience.
Yeah.
So that definitely is something that's probably helping me out, but I am really enjoying it.
Well, I guess I got to finish what I'm reading so I can start it, right?
What are you reading right now, sir?
I'm reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 3.
Book 3?
Yes.
Fuck.
Told you, I go through books fast, alright?
How's it compared to your other lit RPG experiences?
Totally different and absolutely hilarious. The best way I can put it.
I'm very glad to hear it. Off the back of that, in our sort of cycle of book clubbing, the month after this next one with The Emperor's Gift by ADB being the title, it's kind of our wild card time where we kind of just do something a little random. Why don't we, Johnny, try again to have some people come by and steer the ship a little bit?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, over the next month or so on our Discord, we will have a poll. You can vote.
Interesting.
All
right.
Yeah. Which, Johnny, you can also vote. So if there's something you want, you can chuck it into the hat.
I could push the vote, could I?
Yeah, you could push the vote. You haven't done that before.
I sure haven't.
Nah.
Never. I would never do such a thing.
Nah. Well, that is the episode in all of its tangential glory.
Well, thank you so much for, suggesting and reading this book alongside me.
Likewise.
It was a good bit of fun.
Thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. I'm very glad. I want to find you ones you enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did. And it's always fun to find out why these chaos-aligned forces ended up where they did. And we've nearly completed the set at this point, right?
The set of traders?
The set of traders.
Yeah, I guess so. We're probably... Warhammer put out a short list, recommended reading order of about 12 books.
Yeah.
From Heresy Saga's Tapestry. We've done about half.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty
We're
good.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll get to the Siege of Terror.
I had a really funny idea. So, the Siege of Terror, Johnny, technically, is 10 novels, and then there are a couple of anthologies which collect the novellas and short stories.
Yeah.
So you could do one Siege of Terror installment per month, and that would take us a whole year.
That's wild.
That's wild. Because somehow the end of the death is 3 books.
Come back for season 3 of TTP.
You just come back halfway through it, and it's like, are we sick of Terror yet? Yes. Was this book good? Also, yes. What's next? Alrighty-o. Walk us home, Johnny man.
Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time. Come join the Discord. Have a chat. Say hi.
Bye.
And we look forward to the next one where we continue on the slagging adventure of Slag.
What the slag?